The text came through at 11:47 p.m. I was elbow deep in a transmission pan, but the phone buzzes louder than a hydraulic lift. I wipe my hands on my coveralls, grease-stained, same as every night, and squinted at the screen. Chase alert. Savings account withdrawn. $48. 327.11. My stomach dropped. That wasn't a Starbucks charge. That was everything. Every oil change. Every brake job. Every late-night Uber Eats run. I took when my back felt like it was going to snap. My old man's life insurance. 2. The only clean money he ever left me. I didn't call the bank. I called Rachel. Straight to voicemail. Hey, it's Rachel. Leave a message or text me. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat and peeled out of the garage. The drive from Greenpoint to our walk-up in Bed-Stuy usually takes 20 minutes. I made it in 12. Didn't even lock the truck. The apartment smelled like Derek's cologne. That overpriced little Labo shit Rachel always said smelled like ambition. I hated it. I hated him more. She was by the closet, stuffing a Toomey suitcase. New one. 2. Looked like it cost more than my monthly rent. Rachel, I said. My voice sounded wrong. Too calm. She jumped, then rolled her eyes when she saw it was just me. Christ. Liam, you scare the hell out of me. Don't you knock? Where's the money? She zipped the bag shut. Slow. Like she had all the time in the world. Relax. I borrowed it. Borrowed? That's my savings. Every cent I've got. Our savings. She corrected, tossing her hair. Joint account. Remember? Till death do us part and all that. You didn't ask. Ask. She laughed. A sharp, mean sound. Liam, look at yourself. You're covered in grime. You think your little Uber tips compare to Derek's year-end bonus? Grow up. Derek. There it was. The name sat between us like a third person in the room. He needed it. She went on, smoothing a wrinkle on her blouse. His fund's going through a liquidity gap. Some regulatory holdup with the SEC. It's temporary. So you cleaned out my account for your ex? First love. She snapped. Don't be so dramatic. He's going to pay me back. With interest. Probably double. I leaned against the doorframe. My knees felt weak, but I kept my face still. That was for a house. For us. In Queens. Maybe. Remember? Queens? She looked at me like I'd suggested we move to a tent city. Please. Derek says Queens is for commuters and custodians. I'm not raising kids near the 7 train. Kids. I repeated. Right. And Derek's cool with that now? She hesitated. Just for a second. Then she lifted her chin. We're separating. Liam, consider that you're half of the breakup fee. You get the car. I get the capital. Fair trade. I stared at her. The woman I'd married 3 years ago wore thrift store sweaters and cried when I fixed her mom's busted dishwasher. This version? This one wore a $400 silk camisole and talked like a Shark Tank reject. Okay, I said. Her eyebrows went up. Okay? Yeah, okay. I turned around and walked into the kitchen, pulled out my laptop. The screen glowed blue in the dark. I logged into Chase. Then Marcus. Then the Amex Gold we never should have upgraded to. Checking. Savings. Even the damn Apple Card family plan she'd added her sister to last Christmas. One by one, I transferred it all. Every dollar. Left exactly $1 in each account. Just to be a dick about it. Rachel wandered in, leaning against the fridge. What are you doing? Math. Liam, relax. I echoed her earlier tone. Just moving things around. She watched over my shoulder, her breath hitching when she saw the balances drop to 0. You're being childish. This is exactly why I'm leaving. You can't handle real money. I closed the laptop. Real money or Derek's money? She didn't answer, just grabbed her suitcase and headed for the door, paused with her hand on the knob. Don't call me. I'll be at Derek's place in the village. Text if you need to sign something for the divorce. The door slammed. I didn't move. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A text from her best friend. Jess, we done Thanksgiving at their place last year. Jess, girl, you okay? Ratch just told me. Holy shit, You actually cleaned out the accounts? Savage. I didn't reply. Scrolled up, saw the messages Rachel had sent to the group chat an hour ago. Rachel. He's probably crying into his pillow right now. Typical beta behavior. I give him a week before he's begging me to come back. Jess, LMAO. Let him. Then you can rinse him for alimony. Rachel. Nah. Derek says he's got a trust fund opening up next quarter. I'm done playing house with a greased monkey. I turned the phone off, tossed it onto the couch, walked to the window, and looked out at the Manhattan skyline. All those lights, all that glass, none of it mine. Not yet. My mom used to tell me stories about my dad. Not the one who died in a rigging accident when I was 10. The other one. The one she met at a Boston regatta. The one she ran from because he was too much. Too rich. Too connected. Too dangerous for a girl from Southie. She made me swear never to look him up. Said his world would chew me up. Tonight, I broke that promise. I opened my laptop again. Typed Henry Whitmore into Google. Shipping magnate. Died 2018. Left behind a sprawling estate and a missing heir no one could find. My thumb hovered over the trackpad. Then the phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Hello? Silence. Then a crisp, female voice. British accent. Mr. Carter? Who's asking? Evelyn Strauss. I represent the Whitmore estate. We've been looking for you for quite some time. I glanced at the empty savings account on my screen. At the wedding photo on the bookshelf, Rachel smiling. Me looking like I'd won the lottery. Why now? I asked. A pause. Then, because Mr. Whitmore, it appears someone has finally given us a reason to stop waiting. The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, listening to the radiator tick. Outside, a siren wailed down Fulton Street. Somewhere in the village, Rachel was probably curled up in Derek's Egyptian cotton sheets, laughing about how pathetic I was. Let her laugh. I opened the banking app one last time, stared at the single dollar in our joint checking. Then I deleted the app. Time to learn a new name. I slept on the couch, woke up to the smell of stale coffee and the sound of Rachel's texts blowing up my phone. I didn't read them, just unplugged the charger and walked out. The address Evelyn Strauss gave me was a brownstone in the West Village. Not Rachel's part of the village. The quiet part. Old money. The kind of place where the doorman doesn't blink when you show up in a Carhartt jacket and work boots. Evelyn was waiting inside. Late 50s. Razor-sharp bob. Glasses on a chain. She didn't offer coffee. Just slid a manila folder across the mahogany table. Your father was Henry Whitmore, she said. Flat. No preamble. I opened the folder. Birth certificate. Liam Henry Whitmore. Mother's name, Margaret Carter. Father's name, Henry Whitmore. Date of birth matched mine. He died in 18. She continued. Left a controlling stake in Whitmore Maritime. 22% of the East Coast shipping lanes. Real estate in Boston. Manhattan. The Hamptons. Art. Securities. The whole nine. Why did my mom tell me? She made us promise. Said you deserved a normal life. Away from the vultures. Evelyn tapped the folder. But the trust stipulates that if you were ever subjected to significant financial or emotional duress, what we in the legal world call a trigger event, we were authorized to intervene. I thought about the $48. $3, $27, $11. About Rachel's Toomey suitcase. About Derek's cologne. That the trigger? I asked. Cleaning out a joint account without consent? Embezzlement. Technically, but more importantly, it proved you were ready. She leaned forward. Your net worth, liquid in a liquid, is approximately $4. $2 billion. The question is, what do you want to do with it? I didn't hesitate. I want my name back. Good. She stood. Then let's begin. By noon, I had a new phone, new SIM, new email. Evelyn handled the transfers. My money out of the shadows and into a private account at a Swiss bank with a Manhattan branch on Park Avenue. She set up meetings with wealth managers, PR consultants, security details. I told her to cancel all of it except the bank. I don't need a team. I said, I need a table. She arched an eyebrow. A table? Somewhere nice. Somewhere they'll see me. Understanding dawned. She smiled. First real one I'd seen. Ah, the restaurant. Derek Lane frequents Carbone on Thursday nights. Your wife will likely be with him. Ex-wife. I corrected. And yeah, that works. She made a call. Reservation for Whitmore. Party of one. 8 o'clock. I spent the afternoon walking. From a village to Midtown. Past the repair shops and the bodegas. And the guys selling knockoff watches on Canal Street. Past the Uber Eats hub where I used to wait for orders. Nobody looked at me twice. Just another guy in a beat-up jacket. Until 8 o'clock. Carbone was exactly what I expected. Red leather. Brass rails. The kind of noise that costs money to make. The host recognized the name immediately. Mr. Whitmore. Right this way. He led me to a banquette near the back. And there they were. Rachel and Derek. Booth across the aisle. Derek in a Navy Tom Ford suit. Rachel in a dress that probably cost more than my truck. They were laughing about something. Derek was mid-story, gesturing with a martini glass. So the guy from compliance actually asked if I'd hedged the position. Can you believe it? I told him, relax, it's Derek Lane. I don't hedge. I win. Rachel giggled. God, you're impossible. I sat down. The host pulled out my chair. Rachel's laugh caught in her throat. She stared. Liam? She whispered. Derek turned. His smile faltered. Carter? What the hell are you doing here? I didn't answer. Just unfolded the napkin and placed it on my lap. The waiter appeared. Good evening. Sir. Still water or sparkling? Sparkling. I said, and a ribeye? Medium rare. Derek scoffed. You can't afford this place. Man, this isn't a diner in Brooklyn. Watch me. I said. Rachel leaned forward. Voice low. Liam, what's going on? How are you even here? I finally looked at her. Really looked. Up close. The makeup couldn't hide the tension in her jaw. The way her fingers tightened around her wine glass. Just having dinner. I said, with what money? Derek sneered. You probably rode your bike here. Or did you bring the Uber Eats bag in? Maybe you can expense the meal. I pulled out the black card Evelyn had given me. Laid it on the table. Matte finish. No logo. Just a name embossed in silver. Liam H. Whitmore. The waiter's eyes widened. He knew what it was. Everyone in this room did. Derek frowned. What's that? My card. I said, try not to drool on it. Rachel reached out, then stopped herself. Liam, is that real? As real as the $48. $3.27. 11 you took. I said, only difference is, this one has a few extra zeros. Derek's face went red. This is a joke. Some kind of setup. Rachel, tell him to leave before I call security. Rachel wasn't listening. She was staring at the card like it was a winning lottery ticket. Liam, where did you get this? I picked up the menu. Let's just say my dad wasn't a rigger from Staten Island. The food came. I ate. Slow. Enjoyed every bite. Derek tried to ignore me, but his stories got smaller. Quieter. Rachel didn't touch her pasta. She kept watching me. Halfway through dessert, she slid out of the booth and came to my side. Knelt. Actually, like she was proposing. Liam, she whispered. Baby, talk to me. What's going on? Are you rich now? I wiped my mouth with the linen napkin. Define rich. 4 billion. She breathed. Is that true? Jess said. She said there were rumors. Jess talks too much. I said, and yeah, it's true. She grabbed my hand. Her nails dug into my skin. We can fix this. I made a mistake. A stupid one. Derek's nothing. He's all talk. I still love you. Come home. Please. I looked down at her. At the woman who'd called me a beta. Who'd traded me in for a liquidity gap. You said I was invisible. I said, remember? Typical beta behavior. I didn't mean it. You meant every word. I gently pulled my hand free. Stay invisible. Rachel, that's your lane now. I signaled the waiter. He brought the check. I signed it without looking. Left a $100 bill under the plate. As I stood, Derek found his voice. Wait, Whitmore? As in the Whitmore? The shipping Whitmores? I turned. Yeah, that Whitmore. Holy shit, he muttered. Rachel, you dumped a Whitmore? Rachel was crying now, full on silent tears. Liam, please, one chance. I'll make it up to you. Anything. I shook my head. You had your chance. You chose liquidity. Go float. I walked toward the exit. The maitre d' held the door. Outside, a Bentley idled at the curb. Not mine, Evelyn's. The back window lowered. A woman sat inside, early 30s, blonde, sharp cheekbones, wearing a charcoal suit that screamed, "Don't waste my time." "Get in," she said. I slid into the leather seat. The car pulled away from the curb. I glanced back through the restaurant window. I saw Rachel still kneeling by the empty table. Derek was on his phone, already texting someone, probably his lawyer. The woman handed me a tumbler of whiskey. "Charlotte Whitmore," she said. "Your half-sister. And for the record, you handled that beautifully." I took a sip. Smooth. Expensive. "Thanks." "Don't thank me yet," she said. "We've got work to do." Derek Lane's firm is about to have a very bad quarter. And Rachel? She's about to learn what invisible really means. She clinked her glass against mine. "Welcome to the family. Liam, try not to go soft on them." The car merged onto the FDR. Manhattan blurred past windows. For the first time in 10 years. I didn't feel tired. I felt awake. Charlotte didn't take me home. She took me to a high-rise on Park Avenue. Glass, steel, and a doorman who nodded like he'd been expecting us. "We're not doing this in a hotel," she said, punching the elevator button. "You need a base of operations. Somewhere with good Wi-Fi and better security. Inside the penthouse." She tossed me a laptop. "Log in. Check the markets. Derek's firm, Lane Capital, is about to have a very public meltdown." I sat on the leather couch, booting up the machine. "You're moving that fast?" "I've been moving since yesterday," she said, pouring 2 fingers of scotch. "Evelyn called me the second Rachel touched your savings." I started digging into Derek's books. Guy's been cooking them for months. Sloppy, arrogant, thinks the SEC won't look twice because he went to Yale. On the screen, stock ticker scrolled. LCAP, Lane Capital, was already down 2% in after-hours trading. "What did you do?" I asked. "Nothing yet," she said, handing me the glass. "But tomorrow morning, at 9:15, a whistleblower report hits the SEC's desk. Anonymous, obviously, detailing Cap's exposure to subprime auto loans. The kind of toxic waste Derek swore he'd never touch. And you believe it?" "I don't believe it," she said. "I know it, because I put the evidence there myself. Planted it in his shared drive 6 months ago. Been waiting for the right moment to flip the switch." I stared at her. "You've been planning this long?" "Since I found out you existed," she said. "Dad mentioned you once. Said you were the only good thing he ever did. Mom hated that. Kept me away. But I'm a Whitmore, too. And we protect our own." My phone buzzed. "Rachel." Again. I silenced it. Charlotte smirked. "Let her sweat. She's about to have bigger problems than a missed call." The next morning, I woke up to a different world. CNBC was blaring from the kitchen TV. Breaking news out of Wall Street. Lane Capital Partners is facing a federal investigation into alleged accounting irregularities. Shares plunged 30% in pre-market trading. Charlotte walked in, already dressed in a navy power suit. "Time to go to work. You got a meeting at 10. With Derek." I choked on my coffee. "Me? Why?" "Because I said so," she said. "He'll want to know who's behind the short attack. He'll assume it's some faceless hedge fund. Let him see your face. Let him realize the guy he called a grease monkey just dismantled his entire career." The car ride to Midtown was quiet. Charlotte scrolled through her phone, firing off emails. "Legal's ready. PR's ready. The board of Lane Capital is meeting in 15 minutes. Guess who's sitting in the lobby?" We walked into the building like we owned it. Because we did. The receptionist stammered when Charlotte announced us. "Ms. Whitmore. Mr. Whitmore. Mr. Lane is..." "He's in a meeting. Reschedule it," Charlotte said. Now, we didn't wait for the elevator. Took the stairs to the executive floor. Derek's office was at the end of the hall. The glass walls showed him screaming at someone on the phone. Charlotte pushed the door open without knocking. Derek spun around. His hair was messy. His tie loosened. He looked like he hadn't slept. Who the fool, Liam? What the hell are you doing here? Security. They won't come, Charlotte said, stepping forward. I own the building. Literally. Bought it this morning. Derek's mouth opened and closed. He looked at me. This is a joke. This is some kind of sick joke. Did Rachel put you up to this? No. I said, Rachel's busy learning what broke feels like Whitmore Capital. Charlotte cut in. We're the ones who filed the whistleblower report. We're the ones shorting your stock. And we're the ones who'll be acquiring the remnants of your firm for pennies on the dollar. Derek's face turned purple. You can't do that. I'll sue. You what? I stepped closer. Call the cops? On the guy whose money you stole? Funny. Rachel said the same thing last night. Rachel, he spat. That gold-digging bitch. She said you were nobody. She said a lot of things. I finished. Mostly about your liquidity gap. Interesting choice of words. By the way, considering the SEC is currently freezing your accounts for illiquidity. He lunged toward me. Charlotte didn't move. Just watched. I didn't move either. Derek stopped short, breathing hard. You think this is over? He hissed. I've got friends. Senators. Regulators. Your regulators are currently reviewing the offshore accounts in the Caymans. Charlotte said, tapping her phone. The ones you set up under your assistant's maiden name. Cute touch. By the way, very original. Two men in dark suits appeared in the doorway. Not security. FBI. Derek Lane? One said, we have a warrant for your arrest. You're coming with us. Derek stumbled back. No. This is a mistake. Liam, tell them this is a misunderstanding. I didn't say a word. Just watched as they cuffed him. As they led him past the glass walls. Past his stunned colleagues. Past the traders who'd lost millions because of him. In the elevator, Charlotte finally spoke. That was for Dad, she said, quietly. He hated guys like Derek. Guys who thought money made them gods. My phone buzzed again. Rachel. Different number this time. I answered. Liam. Oh my God. Have you seen the news? Derek's been arrested. They're saying he's going to jail. I'm at my office. They're firing people. Liam. They just called me into HR. Sounds like a liquidity problem. I said, please. I need you. I'll change. I swear. I'll sell everything. I'll move back to Brooklyn. You wanted Derek's world. I interrupted. You got it. Now live in it. I hung up, blocked the number. Charlotte looked at me. You okay? I nodded. Better than okay. Good, she said, because we're not done. Rachel's firm is next. And this time, we're not just taking her job. We're taking her reputation. The elevator doors opened to the lobby. Reporters were already gathering outside. Cameras flashing. Charlotte handed me a pair of sunglasses. Smile. Brother, she said. The best part's just starting. 3 months later. I didn't flinch when the doorman called me Mr. Whitmore. Didn't blink when the boardroom fell silent as I walked in. Charlotte said I was a natural. I figured I was just tired of pretending to be small. She set up the family dinner at the Whitmore Mansion in Greenwich. Not a party, a statement. Invites went out to Boston Old Guard, a few Manhattan heavy hitters, and exactly 0 people from my old life, except one. Rachel found out anyway. I was in the study, nursing a bourbon, when Charlotte's assistant poked her head in. Mr. Whitmore? There's a Ms. Miller at the gate. She's causing a scene. Charlotte looked up from her tablet. Deny her. She says she's your fiancé. The assistant added, wincing. I laughed. A real one. First in a long time. Fiancé? That's a new one. Let her in, Charlotte said, closing her tablet. I want her to see exactly what she threw away. Security escorted Rachel through the marble foyer. She looked like she'd aged 5 years. Cheap drugstore makeup. A dress that didn't fit right. Like she bought it 2 sizes too small, hoping it would motivate her to lose weight. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Desperate. Liam, she breathed, rushing forward. Oh my God. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. They froze my accounts. Derek's in prison. My firm fired me. I'm living with my parents in Yonkers. Yonkers. Charlotte repeated, savoring the word like it tasted bad. How tragic. Rachel ignored her, grabbing my arm. Baby, please. I know I messed up. I was blind. But I still love you. We can start over. I don't care about the money anymore. Just take me back. I peeled her fingers off my sleeve. You don't care about the money? That's funny, because last time I checked, you cared so much you drained my savings for a guy who's now trading cigarettes for protection in Otisville. He manipulated me. She cried. He said you'd never amount to anything. I was scared. Liam, I didn't want to end up poor. Too late for that, Charlotte said, standing. She moved to my side, sliding her arm through mine. Though I suppose poor is relative, compared to us. Most people are. Rachel's gaze snapped to Charlotte. She'd been avoiding looking at her directly, like Charlotte was the son. Who are you? Charlotte Whitmore, she said, her voice dripping with ice. Liam's sister, and soon-to-be fiancé. Actually, we're announcing it tonight. The color drained from Rachel's face. Fiancé? No, that's not. Liam, tell her we're still married. We haven't even finalized a divorce. Finalized? I shook my head. Rachel, the papers were served to your mother's house 3 weeks ago. You probably missed them while you were filling out applications for food stamps. She staggered back. You're marrying her? She's your sister. Liam, this isn't you. You're a good man. You don't hurt people like this. I didn't hurt you. I said, I just stopped saving you. Charlotte leaned into me, her head on my shoulder. He doesn't need to save you. Rachel, he needs to be saved from you. Please, Rachel whispered, sinking to her knees. One chance. I'll be better. I'll be the wife you deserve. Just don't do this. Don't marry her. A few guests had gathered in the hallway, watching silently. No one moved to help her. No one spoke. I crouched down so we were eye level. You wanted Derek's world. I said, soft enough that only she could hear. You got it. 7 years in a federal pen, a credit score in the basement, and a future full of what-ifs. Live in it. I stood. Charlotte took my hand. We walked past her, toward the dining room where the real family waited. Behind us, Rachel started sobbing. Loud, ugly, gasping sounds. I didn't look back. Dinner was roast beef and quiet power moves. Charlotte sat at the head of the table. I sat to her right. She didn't let go of my hand once. Halfway through the salad course, she tapped her glass. I'd like to propose a toast, she said. The room quieted. To my brother, who spent too long thinking he was nobody, and who's about to realize that being a Whitmore isn't about the money. It's about the backbone. Glasses clinked. I caught her eye. Backbone? You didn't blink when Derek came at you, she said, low. Didn't flinch when Rachel begged. Most men would have folded, would have taken her back, just to stop the noise. You didn't. That's rare. I learned from the best. I said, damn right. She smiled, small, private. Mom told me about you after Dad died. Said you were the only good thing he ever did. I didn't believe her. Thought you were some myth, some ghost. She paused. Turns out, you're just a man who needed someone to see him. I looked around the room. These people, they weren't my family. Not yet, but they respected power, respected survival. And for the first time, I wasn't the guy scraping by. I was the guy they circled. Later, out on the terrace, Charlotte lit a cigarette. Offer me one. I declined. You're thinking about her, she said. Not a question. Wondering if I'm being cruel. I admitted. You're being honest. She corrected. There's a difference. Cruelty is hurting someone for fun. Honesty is telling them they burned the bridge. Rachel didn't just leave. Liam, she robbed you. Then she laughed about it. You don't owe her forgiveness. You don't owe her a second glance. I know, I said. It's just weird. Feeling nothing. That's not nothing, she said. That's peace. She took a drag, exhaled toward the stars. You know what Mom said when I told her I was bringing you into the firm? She said, don't let him get soft. I told her you weren't soft. You were just unpolished. Now look at you. Look at us. I said. She turned, studying me. Yeah, us. She stubbed out the cigarette. You sure about this? The engagement? It's not too late to call it a business arrangement. I'm sure. I said, you're the first person who didn't ask what I was worth. You just showed up. Someone had to. She murmured. Then, louder, come on. Grandmother wants to meet you. Try not to swear. She hates that. I followed her back inside. Rachel was gone. The marble floor didn't even have a mark where she'd knelt, like she'd never been there at all. And for the first time since I emptied those accounts, I realized I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was already standing on solid ground. 6 months later, I'm scrolling through TMZ on a private jet heading to Mustique. Charlotte's asleep with her head on my shoulder. Her engagement ring, a 12-carat emerald-cut diamond that used to belong to our grandmother, digging into my neck. I don't mind. My phone buzzes with a news alert. Former Wall Street darling Derek Lane sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. I tap the link. The court transcript is dry, but the comment section is a bonfire. Top comment. Hope he finds a new liquidity gap in the shower. I smirk. Charlotte stirs. What? She mumbles. Derek's officially gone. 7 years. Good, she says. Eyes still closed. Maybe they'll teach him how to fold laundry. I heard that's a big skill inside. I keep scrolling. Another headline pops up. Rachel Miller. From Madison Avenue to minimum wage? I click. There's a grainy photo of Rachel in a polyester vest, scanning groceries at a ShopRite in Yonkers. The caption reads, sources say the former ad exec lost everything after her ex-husband, billionaire Liam Whitmore, cut her off. She's currently appealing her eviction. My thumb hovers over the screen. Part of me expects to feel something. Guilt. Maybe. Satisfaction. Definitely. But there's just silence. Like watching a rerun of a show you hated. Charlotte peeks at the screen. ShopRite? Classy. I bet she tells customers her maiden name is Rockefeller. She posted something last night. I say, reading. Long Facebook essay. I lost the best man I ever had. Very dramatic. Lots of typos. Let me guess. She says she's grown? That she sees the light? Charlotte sits up, stealing the phone. She reads aloud, mimicking Rachel's voice. I know now that true love isn't about money, but about soul connection. She snorts. Soul connection? She wouldn't know a soul if it filed a restraining order against her. I shrug. It's getting traction. A few thousand likes. From bots and her mom. Charlotte says, handing the phone back. Ignore it. We've got bigger things. Like the fact that Grandma's lawyer just wired the final payment for the island. It's ours. Free and clear. Ours. I repeat. It still sounds strange. Not mine. Ours. The jet lands. A speedboat takes us to the private island. No press. No guests. Just Evelyn, the priest, and a small crew to man the bar. Charlotte wears a white silk dress that costs more than Rachel's entire ShopRite annual salary. I wear a navy suit that fits like it was painted on. During the ceremony, the priest asks if anyone objects. We both glance toward the shore, half expecting Rachel to swim out, screaming about soul connections. Nothing, just the waves. When it's time for vows, Charlotte goes first. Liam, I spent 30 years believing I had no family worth a damn. Then I found you. You're not just my brother. You're the only person I've met who's more stubborn than I am. I promise to keep you safe, keep you real, and never let you forget that you're worth exactly $4.2 billion, and every cent of it is yours. I laugh. Then I turn serious. Rachel used to tell me I was invisible. Derek used to call me a grease monkey. Today, I'm neither. I'm just a guy who got lucky enough to be loved right. Not once, not twice, but by someone who actually sees me. Charlotte, you can just give me a name. You gave me a home. I promise to never let you stand alone. Not in the boardroom, not in the spotlight, and definitely not at the Thanksgiving table when Grandma starts in on the tax code. We kiss. It's not the messy, desperate kiss of my first wedding. It's quiet, certain. When we pull apart, Evelyn is dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. Later, at the tiny reception under string lights, a staffer hands me a note. No envelope, just a crumpled piece of paper. Liam, please. I'm sorry. I'm working 3 jobs. I can't sleep. I see your face everywhere. Just tell me you forgive me. R. I stare at it. Then I hand it to Charlotte. She reads it, then holds it to the flame of a candle. The edges curl black. Problem solved. She says, you didn't even read the whole thing. I say, didn't need to. It's the same sentence every time. Notice me. She drops the burning paper into her champagne flute. It sizzles and goes out. She had her chance to notice you when you were fixing her sink at midnight. Now she can notice the security cameras at ShopRite. I watch the ash float in the bubbly. She's never going to stop. Is she? Nope, Charlotte says, clinking her glass against mine. But we don't have to listen. That's the difference between being Liam Carter and being Liam Whitmore. Carter had to care. Whitmore gets to choose. The next morning, we're back in New York. I have a meeting with the heads of Whitmore Maritime. Charlotte sits beside me, interrupting only when some VP tries to bullshit me about quarterly earnings. Afterward, we're in the back of the Bentley, stuck in traffic on the FDR. Charlotte's scrolling through her phone. Rachel's essay is still up. 3,000 likes now. Someone commented, girl, you had a Whitmore and you traded him for a Lane? Fire your life coach. I laugh. Brutal. Truth usually is, she says. She leans her head on my shoulder again. You know, Mom would have liked this. The quiet part, not the billions. Just you. I look out the window. Manhattan blurs past. Somewhere in Yonkers, Rachel is probably clocking in for the evening shift. Somewhere in Otisville, Derek is learning that liquidity doesn't exist in the commissary. And somewhere in the Hamptons, our island waits for our return. She spent my savings on her first love. I say quietly. Charlotte looks up. What? Something I've been thinking about. The title of the story. I guess. I turn to her. She spent my savings on her first love. I spent the rest of my life on the real one. Charlotte smiles, slow, wide, real, worth every cent. She kisses me then, right there in the back of the car, while the city honks and rages outside. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to check the rearview mirror. The past is behind me. The future is a woman who knows my name, all of them, and chooses it anyway. And that's worth more than $4 billion. That's priceless.